All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders Daily. My name is Jackson. I post daily Raiders content, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoy it. I was reading an article earlier today, and they had the updated projected win total for the Las Vegas Raiders at 8.5. Now, personally, I still think this is a double-digit win team, and I'm going to break a couple of things down for you guys because I'm reading the comments, I'm on Twitter, and there's a lot of pessimism out there. There's a lot of, and it's understandable, all right? I do want to get that point out there. It's very understandable because those were both very winnable games, and if we're being honest here, I know this is all hypothetical and, it's not real, but the Raiders easily could and should be 2-0 right now. And you're playing Week 1 MVP candidate Justin Herbert. You're playing a top 5 offense from last season who made a bunch of improvements on the defensive end in the Los Angeles Chargers, and then a quality team in the Arizona Cardinals. As much crap as I love to give Kyler Murray, they're a quality team, all right? So 0-2 is not ideal, but listen to this, all right? Week 1, there's plenty of positives from each game, all right? Week 1, Derek Carr threw 3 picks, all right? I liked the play calling. The offensive line wasn't holding up as much as it did in Week 2, so there's another improvement. But those 3 turnovers, it's unexcusable. It can't happen again, but it was Week 1. Maybe they're a little bit rusty, not playing in the preseason or what have you. That's a whole nother debate in its own. Now, Week 2 was a little different because you had a 20-0 halftime lead, and you gave up a bunch of unanswered points in the second half. Now, Derek Carr, I think his decision-making was a lot better. They stayed away from heavily Devonte Adams. He had 17 targets in Week 1, only 7 in Week 2. That's a lesson in itself right there. I get you don't want to be too top-heavy. In fact, it's very important you don't get too top-heavy. It's not that I have a problem with the 17 targets, but your RB1 and Josh Jacobs, he can't rush the ball Week 1 9 times and throw the ball to Devonte Adams 17. Eventually, teams are going to pick up on that, and they're going to start to scheme against it, clearly. Now, Devonte Adams did get 7 targets, but he only had 2 catches for 10 yards. One of them was the first drive. It was his touchdown reception. That Raiders' first drive against the Cardinals was money. They ran the ball almost 10 times. Derek Carr was utilizing his whole offense. Devonte Adams is the best receiver in NFL, but you also have a top 3 healthy is very critical right now, Darren Waller. You have one of the best slot receivers in the NFL in Hunter Renfrow. So the offensive line, I thought there were some improvements. I do want to get away from rotation offensive linemen. I understand the counter argument to it, but I think that is absolutely ridiculous. I don't see a world why you want to rotate offensive linemen when you're trying to look for consistency. But let's be real here. Josh McDaniels needs to get more creative, all right? And this is something I talked about in yesterday's video a little bit, was some of these play calls are, especially if we look into overtime or in the fourth quarter, when you're in enemy territory and all you need are some points to win the football game, why are you throwing the ball on first down both times? It's inexcusable. It's not that it wasn't working, but Derek Carr and the Raiders offense coming into overtime, they had in 40 literal minutes, 40 literal real-time minutes, they did not have the ball. They were not off on offense. So, run the ball. Run the ball. Now, there's a lot of anti-Josh McDaniels stuff going on all over Raider Nation right now, and not just Raider Nation and national football media in general. Josh McDaniels, when he first got to the Denver Broncos in his 2 years as head coach, started off with 6 straight wins, all right? Then I think they started to become a little bit too lenient. They stopped getting creative, and, he ended up finishing with an 11-17 record. So basically, after a 6-0 start, he went 5-17. That is brutal. But the Raiders aren't the 2009-2010 Denver Broncos, and this isn't the same 2009-2010 Josh McDaniels. I think this Raiders team is extremely resilient. I think that Josh McDaniels learned valuable lessons, not only just being the offensive coordinator and being in football with Bill Belichick for so long, but when you have 2 tough seasons like that in your first ever, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and you work your ass off to make sure that never happens again. This is definitely not financial advice, and I know I was very, very adamant about the Raiders winning last week. There is no way, shape, or form this Raiders team loses against the Titans. First off, it's I won't even get into Ryan Tannehill and Tennessee Titans, but they're going to make the proper adjustment. They're number 23 in total offense right now. It's a huge, huge, huge issue, but it's not a red flag. It's not reason to panic. It's not reason to bench Derek Carr or fire Josh McDaniels. No. Trust the system, trust the process, and trust your playmakers, because you have plenty of them on the offensive end, and on the defensive end, you have guys like Max Crosby who absolutely lit up the Arizona Cardinals. We saw guys like Amik Robertson have a phenomenal week. We saw Nate Hobbs in week 1. Chandler Jones, 100,000% needs to figure his shit out, but that's a whole nother thing. My point with the Raiders defense is they're not as powerful, I would say, as the offense, clearly, because to me this is undisputedly a top 10 offense. No matter what the final record is, no matter how the season goes, the Raiders will be a top 10 offense. They have too many threats. All right? Now, the defense did more than hold their own. They bended week 1. They didn't break. And in week 2, it's hard to really even get mad at the defense because, like I said earlier, the Raiders offense didn't have the ball for 40 minutes. Shout out, Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray, I'll give credit where it's due. All right? Kyler Murray, especially off scheme or off game planning, he's a threat in his own. He's a freakily athlete. He has a good arm, and he can make stuff happen on the fly. All right? I'm not saying the Raiders season would be over if the Titans beat them. It would not be good. I would definitely have a little bit of a different opinion because that would be unacceptable. But to me, the Raiders are just fine. It's 2 weeks. Most of these starters did not play in preseason. It's just a new plan. It's a new scheme. It's just a new culture. It's a new everything that you need to give it some time. You have to be patient, as difficult as it is. You have to trust your team and the decisions that they make, all right? I do like how aggressive, I wish they were a little bit more aggressive with particularly the offensive line and the cornerback position in the offseason. I was not a fan of some of the trades they made right before the regular season started at all, but I'm trusting it, all right? I'm definitely going to go ahead and trust it. So Derek Carr, Devonte Adams, Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, it's a lot of talent right there, all right? That's a lot of talent. So if that defense can just hold its own, which, once again, I'm not really trying to talk about the Titans until the preview video because of last week and what I said about the Cardinals, but it's Ryan Tannehill, all right? Do your job, do your thing, go out there, get that W, and everyone will be shut up as far as outside media goes. We're going to be specifically hard on this team because it's our team, but national media doesn't really like the Raiders to begin with. So try and stay away from that outside noise and just trust and have some patience. So let me know what you guys are thinking heading into this upcoming week. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later.